Good morning. I wanted to say today that I am thankful for my encouragers. Just yesterday, I received 3 calls or texts from individuals who just wanted to share with me some words of encouragement. It was Mark Twain who said, "I can go 2 months on one good compliment." And I believe there is a lot of truth to that. I might be in my office trying to get some work done and I reach an impasse. It might be that I'm working on a lesson and it's just not coming together the way that I want it to. It might be that it's a rainy, dreary day and that's affecting my productivity. It might be that I have received a complaint or a criticism. It might not even be about me, but it has gotten in my head and is distracting me, and I'm just not able to focus on the task at hand. And then that call comes in, that text comes in, that email comes in, and all of a sudden I am past the impasse. The lesson begins to flow, my productivity increases, I'm able to get that negativity out of my head and continue to move forward. And so I wanted to share with you a message today about encouragement. Now, in fairness, I should say that I have a tendency towards negativity myself. I think that we all do to a certain extent. Gravity works against us. In terms of the earth and the fact that it pulls us down, that's a good thing. But in terms of what I call mental gravity, it is a negative thing. It affects us and it affects those who are around us, and it pulls us down. And it is easier because of gravity to be pulled down than it is to lift up. But as I said, I think that I certainly have a greater tendency towards negativity than perhaps many people do. In fairness, I think I come by it honest. I've shared with my congregation before the story about my grandmother on my father's side. She was a chronic complainer. It's from her that I developed the idea that half the fun of getting to do something is being able to complain about it. I remember as a child growing up, my grandmother would be in the kitchen and she loved to cook. But she would complain the entire time. And after a while, I could look over at my grandfather. Now, my grandfather served in World War II. He was in the Pacific Theater. He had shrapnel in his legs as a result of that. Because of the large guns that he fired, the noise from that left him with ear damage, and he had to wear hearing aids. And after a while, you could see him reach up behind his ear and start scrolling the hearing aid into the off position. So at least he wouldn't have to listen to the complaining. The other day, my sister and I were at our mother's house. We were doing some landscaping work. And my sister and I love to pick at each other. We love to give each other a hard time. And we were doing that, and I was doing my fair share of complaining. And my mother finally said, "Alan, will you just stop the complaining?" And I looked at her and I said, "Mother, do you really want to take the joy of this away from me?" She got a good kick out of that. But it's an illustration of how, if not I myself can be negative, then how we can all have a tendency towards negativity. Jesus said in John 10:10 that he came that we might have life and we might have it abundantly. Sometimes it's hard to see the abundance. When we go through difficult times, it's hard to see the abundance. Right now, specifically, it might be difficult to see the abundance. As we see a shortage of food on the shelves, as we see a shortage of social interaction, and God made us social beings, and we do need that social interaction. As we might be concerned about the coronavirus and whether or not we or someone that we know and love might contract it, it might be difficult to see the abundance. But if we are going to believe Scripture, if we are going to believe the words of Jesus, then we must accept the truth that even in these times, there are times of abundance. It was the Apostle Paul who told the church to encourage and build up one another. And so if we are going to obey the words of Scripture, then we have a responsibility to encourage, not to criticize. We have an obligation to build up and not tear down. And so today, I want to leave you with a challenge. I want to challenge you to get your church directory, take it out, open it up, look through it. Find the name of an individual. And I want to challenge you to call that person or text that person or email that person and give them a word of encouragement. It might be as simple as, I was thinking about you today and took a moment to say a word of prayer for you. It might be a prayer of thanksgiving. It might be a prayer asking God to bless that person. But whatever the case might be, let that person know that you were thinking about them. Strive to encourage them. It might be that you want to find someone who you know has done something for you or for the church, and you just want to tell them that you appreciate it. But I challenge you today not to focus on the negative, focus on the positive, and be an encourager. Someone who builds up and not tears down. Have a great day.